I'm an Aston Villa fan that documents my journey home and away and in Europe. But for me, that journey following Villa is very different. You know, as someone that has followed Aston Villa home and away and in Europe for a number of years now, I think I first started in 2023 when we was in the Conference League journey. I've always wanted to document that journey from a disabled supporter's point of view. Our journey is different, but at the same time, we can still have all the same experiences. You know, we celebrate the goal as much as everyone else. We have that Villa community, and we are invested in Villa as much as everyone else. So I was really excited and thankful for the opportunity to be able to showcase and document that journey. It's the night before Tottenham away. I'll be travelling down tomorrow on the train. And while you might be getting your threads ready, I have to book assistance for the train. So I'm just going to take you through this process now. There are certain things when you're travelling that, you know, are out of your control that will pop up and will be difficult for you to navigate. One of the things I'm just doing before we leave is I'm pulling my battery on the wheelchair. Because it is going to be a long day, so I need to have a second battery on my wheelchair. When you travel, there are certain distances that you have on the chair. We're just making sure that we have a maximum amount of mileage on the chair. I had to gamble on the morning of the game and book an Uber and hope that the size of the car was big enough for my wheelchair to go in the boot. Thankfully that was, but that just gives you a bit of context. There has been times, particularly on game days, where that hasn't gone to plan. Just arrived at this train station, going to go over to the platform and get my assistance that I booked. So hopefully all goes smoothly. I have a good relationship with the train staff here at Wolverhampton, and as a frequent traveller who goes to all the games, you build a relationship up with the people and does well. So I'll see you in a bit. Thank you. Euston. I used to avoid London in terms of the travel network because it is very complex and there are different elements in terms of the tubes and the different stations that are across London that make it difficult. London Euston Tube Station, parts of it aren't wheelchair accessible, and the lines that were going to Tottenham weren't accessible. So every time we go to London, we have to make a 10 to 15 minute walk journey to St Pancras, where we then get on the tube and underground there. That's always set in our journey time. Every time we go to London, we know that we've got to get to St Pancras to go via the tubes. Thank you. Have a good day. I've just got off the train, and then all of a sudden there's been a big crowd of people running towards the train that we just got off. And this is because London Euston is particularly frustrating for announcing the platforms late, which some of you might know. But it is frustrating as a wheelchair user because obviously now I've got hundreds of people coming toward me, and there's only one way I can go. So I'm just going to have to be a little bit patient as people get on this train. I also met my other friends there, Greg and Gaz, who Greg is a wheelchair user who follows Villa home and away. Doing all right?
Our train was cancelled.
We met following the Villa, didn't we?
We did.
And now we're part of the Villa community. How do you find getting to the games in a wheelchair?
Hard work.
Yeah?
Trains, ramps, people in the way, people won't move, but it's worth it if we win.
Yeah. Hopefully we get the 3 points today.
I agree.
Yeah. Thank you.
Come on, Jude.
Thank you. Sorry.
This is Tottenham Head. Change here.
It's that way.
Down to number 11, fella.
Thank you. Cheers. Tottenham's a very good ground, you know, it's a new stadium, so in terms of the number of wheelchair bays it's actually got a very large number of wheelchair bays in the away end. The view is amazing in terms of where you sat behind the Villa fans, but actually I prefer that view. You know, I've been pitch side at some grounds, I've been sort of in the middle of the stand at others, and that view behind the ground sort of raised up really gives you a really good view, but also makes you feel part of the atmosphere. Sometimes when you're front row, you know, the view is difficult, but also you feel a bit segmented from the Villa fans, even though you are still in the away end. So that was really good. Okay. Yeah, so thank you. Not long till kick-off now. I got myself a drink, a pie as well. We had to do a half an hour walk to the ground. Tottenham Hale was quite far, but the tube stations that are closer can't guarantee to be accessible.
Hello, boys. Hello, boys. Cheers, dude.
On the way back, London Euston shut for a number of hours. There was no communication in terms of what was happening at London Euston, and because of this, obviously, a lot of people diverted to other stations. The tube stations were very busy. We waited around for at least 2 hours, and there was no sort of update really from London Euston. So we then made the decision I wheeled. My friend Harvey walked all the way to Marylebone. It was about a 50-minute walk, and that's something that actually happens quite a lot. It shouldn't be like that. Tottenham away was great. You know, the result was good. Really good experience in terms of accessibility, but shame we didn't get in hospitality. The situation before my amputation was I was in hospital for a number of years. I developed a condition called complex regional pain syndrome, and as part of that, my leg became fused up to my chest. I chose to have my leg amputated in 2022, so I went from being in a hospital bed full-time and potentially being bedbound to now travelling the world, following Aston Villa, doing the things I love. So the reason for the amputation was to regain that independence, and it certainly has given me that 100%. There's some games where I have gone and travelled by myself to games, you know, something that wasn't even in the picture. I've now been able to, you know, make that community and make friends for life that are happy to support me and happy to make sure I enjoy the Villa everywhere I go. As a disabled supporter, you have to be very good at planning ahead and also be ready for the unexpected. And when it comes to travelling in Europe, that's a whole different beast. Go Ahead Eagles was a completely different experience because you're in the home end as an away fan. Currently waiting for my mates who I met following Villa in Europe all the way back in Alkmaar when we played in the Conference League. So just waiting for them, and I will take you on the journey. So we're at the gate ready to depart Manchester. This is probably one of the stressful parts now being a wheelchair user, where you get to the point where you're going to hand over the wheelchair and whether it's where we have to fold it down and put all the bubble wrap on. So I'll show you through that process and how it all goes. Thank you for your help. Thank you. So just arrived at our hotel. Thankfully we have got a wheelchair accessible room. Sometimes on these trips I do ask for a wheelchair accessible room, but sometimes it's not possible, which is poor and difficult for me sometimes. But I've been told that I have got a wheelchair accessible room. Got my room key here, so hopefully we have it. Oh.
Oh my god, you got a chair in your shower, what the fuck?
Oh.
Oh my god.
Oh, it's legendary.
It's legendary.
Yo. Well, we're having pizza tomorrow. Morning, it is game day. So the plan of action today is to head over to the pickup point. So there is a bus that is going from Amsterdam to Deventer for free, taking the Aston Villa fans. However, the communication from Aston Villa is that they are unsure whether this bus is wheelchair accessible. I was able to manage because of how mobile I am, but there would have been supporters that if they would have travelled from Amsterdam on that coach, they wouldn't have been able to travel. So I actually know friends that had to get the train. They couldn't risk that uncertainty. So sometimes that uncertainty is really hard. While it's great for accessibility, when you're travelling with a big group or travelling with your friends, sometimes you get split up and you have to go separate ways, which can be a little bit frustrating when you want to travel all together and make sure you all get to the game safely. But the people I travel with are brilliant, and they help me all the way and allow me to enjoy the game as should everyone else. So looking forward to the game, looking forward to the day, and I'll take you on the journey. So we've arrived in Deventer at the ticket collection point. Tickets have been collected, all very easy. Aston Villa staff were on hand. Our disability liaison officer came out to meet us and handed us over the tickets. So we're all set for the game now. I believe we are getting a coach at around 5 o'clock to the game, which is for the wheelchair users, and then we'll be able to get to the game. We've got the coach over from Amsterdam to Deventer. That was all wheelchair accessible for me. Yeah, all good. Both myself and Danny have got our tickets, so all good. So we're just trying to get the buses to the stadium. There is special wheelchair accessible taxis and buses for us, but at the moment we don't know quite how to get there. This is my third consecutive year of following Villa as a disabled supporter. We had some really bad experiences following Villa in the Champions League last season. So this season I was a bit sceptical in terms of the European journey and what that would look like. Oh good, you? At the front, yeah? Okay. All strapped in. There's, I think, 10 wheelchair users here today. With obviously Go Ahead Eagles being a small allocation stadium, there is regulations that the relevant bodies UEFA set out to enable to make sure that there are the correct number of wheelchair bays for both home supporters and away supporters. Of course, with Go Ahead Eagles being a smaller allocation, there is less wheelchair bays. However, we have got a good following at Aston Villa. There is a huge following of disabled supporters. Therefore, we're just all getting on the bus now. So, all good. We got there and we were trying to find our entrance. So we went to the entrance first of all, and it said on our ticket whatever area it was. So I went there. I went, no, you're not here. This way. Oh, okay. Thank you. We're not in hospitality, but they're telling me to go this way, so I go that way. So I go all the way around now. No, you're not there. You're back where you've just been. So they send all the way back down there, and eventually the same person that said no let us in because someone let him know. The plans can be put in place by Villa, the plans can be put in place by the opposing club, but actually the communication on the ground is so important. Right, we're going back to where we originally started to try and get into the ground. Thank you. Cheers, thank you. Anyway. Have we scored? Have we scored? Yes! What happened?
No idea. No idea what's happened.
To confirm, I think Villa are 1-0 up. I couldn't quite see what was happening. It's the Unai Emery. More than you want to know. In terms of accessibility, once you were in the ground, was actually really good, and they were very accommodating. Lots of free food and free drink that they were offering us, which we were very, very grateful for. The atmosphere at Go Ahead Eagles was really good. Naturally, it was a good experience as a football fan to see how they did it all. We were right next to the players' families. I saw Marco Bizot waving to his family. Came out of nowhere, that did.
And that's enough about Go Ahead Eagles. I think nobody wants to relive that match again. So it's back to Jude and how he got back to his hotel in Amsterdam.
Before the game had even finished, so it's sort of about 75 minutes where there's still a lot to play for. Louis called me and Jack, who also I travel with, who was in the away end at Villa, and he said, "Are you going back to Amsterdam?" And I said, "I think I am." And he goes, "Well, all our coaches are going back to Amsterdam. Apparently your coaches are all going back, the wheelchair coaches are all going back to Deventer." Now, we were all with those people, and I was staying in the same hotel as Louis, Danny, so I needed to be with them. There was no way that we could go back to Deventer because we would be on our own. We had to speak to Laura, and Laura was amazing at sorting it out. She spoke to the authorities, and they arranged for us to have an escort back round to the Villa fans and then get on the coach with the Villa fans. But these are just the little things that you think about, 75 minutes into the game, and I'm thinking about how I'm getting out. That little bit of communication is so important. And we've very much been able to work together as a club to help improve these facilities. The best advice and experience is actually the people that live it. That lived experience is really important. The Aston Villa Disabled Supporters Association was set up by Joanne McKibbins. The role of a supporters association is to make sure the voices of disabled supporters are heard. Jo is very good at liaising with the club and liaising with the different people at Villa and across the Premier League and UEFA. She's been very good at building up her relationship with the sporting bodies. And I've been lucky enough and fortunate enough to be on that journey with her over the last couple of years. I talked about that friendship and that journey. Jo has become a very good friend of mine, like we're doing today. Increasing that awareness and increasing that representation. Like I said, there's a large community of Aston Villa disabled supporters, and we want to show their voices. While I'm giving you my journey and my experience as a disabled supporter, Joe's will be completely different, and someone else's will be completely different. It's that community that has really got me through and made me enjoy following Aston Villa. So I think community, but also the different elements of travelling and the enjoyment of it. I feel very much part of the atmosphere, very much part of that journey, and I can't imagine now not going to a Villa game, not seeing that atmosphere, seeing that goal, seeing that win. We're very much part of the Villa family, and that's what's been really important to me.
To make some noise and get another 3 points for our fantastic Villa boys.
Villa Park, the experience that I know best. I travel there every other week. I've been a season ticket holder at Villa since the age of 13, so I know Villa Park. We've got a good record against City.
You have at home. I kind of fancy you. I think you'll be close.
Yeah.
I've got for 2-1.
I'll go.
I reckon Villa, you got a chance to beat them.
I think we'll keep a clean sheet, 1-0. Thank you for your help.
I've told the guard, mate. Yeah, I'll see you soon. Good luck for today, mate.
Will do. I'll be back a bit later. Now, there's a reason I go to Whitton train station, and that's because you've often got two options. You've got Whitton and Aston, but I prefer to go to Whitton because they have an accessible ramp. Aston do have a lift, but a lot of the time it's out of order, and I actually learnt the hard way. I remember one of the first times I ever travelled as a wheelchair user to Villa Park. I got off at Aston, and the lift was out of order, and I had to carry my wheelchair down the stairs. From the ages of 13 to 15, while I had cerebral palsy and I had some difficulties in terms of my cerebral palsy, I went to the ground as an ambulant disabled supporter. I was sitting in the whole end at an L3, and I really enjoyed that. From 17 to now, I've been a wheelchair user, and my seat had been located in the Trinity Road stand right below the big screen. I wanted to be as close to the whole end as possible because I love the whole end. It's a magical stand, and I've always loved that atmosphere, and I didn't want to move away from the whole end. but I had no choice because of the wheelchair bays. That's where the wheelchair bays are located.
All right, cheers, thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers,
thank you. We've just made it off the train. We're at Whitton. As you can see, I'm going down the very long ramp, but at least it ensures that it's wheelchair accessible for me. So that is pretty much the journey to Villa Park. It's fairly smooth now. We've got it down to a good routine. We know all the staff at Whitton, and Whitton know when to expect us. Likewise at Wolverhampton too. So thank you to all the staff that help us get off the train. And hopefully we have a smooth day with the result too.
Following the Villa is great. It's a highlight of my week. Sometimes the getting on and off the train can be a bit of a sticky situation, but we get there, and I love it. It's a great atmosphere, great away days when I can get tickets. Yeah, love it.
There's a big community of wheelchair users at Aston Villa, so that row of wheelchair bays are sold out nearly every game, and it's very hard to get a wheelchair bay. Villa were very good with me when it came to changing my seat, because like I say, I was in the whole end, and Villa very swiftly moved it over to the Trinity Road stand. But of course that is on availability, and that is one of the difficulties for supporters sometimes, is that the allocation of wheelchair bays compared to normal seats is limited because of the way it's set up. So I think Villa are doing works with that. Sometimes you have to rely on the kindness and help from others. I'm just trying to get some food, and can't quite get up there in my wheelchair, so Harvey's gone to get me some food. I'm going to try the bacon and hash brown cob. Let's see how I get on. That's good. Very good. Hello. You okay?
Good, yeah?
Yeah, you?
Yeah, good.
Been alright? I ain't seen you for a while. Thank you. Cheers. Have a good day. Thank you. Thank you. We're in position. Aston Villa versus Man City. Back in the usual spot. I've been at Villa Park for a few weeks, so it's good to be back. That'd be good to try that one, wouldn't it? Good movement around the edge of the box. At half time, I went and got some food and drink, and there is lowered counters, which I go to. The one thing I would say about those lower counters is that it feels like sometimes that you don't get noticed as a disabled supporter there. That's just my experience. People's experiences might be different.
Would you like the lid left on your ice?
Yes, please. Thank you. That's the first time I've been at Villa Park. Actually, they've asked if I would like the lid left on of my drink, just because it's a little bit easier sometimes for people. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And you. Thank you. Sorry. Defend Villa. Yeah. Last kick of the game. I told you it'd beat us. I said we would. The thing that I find difficult is coming back from the game. It's quite cramped in terms of the space that you've got going to Whitton. There has been times after game, particularly at night games, in European games as well at home, where I've felt uncomfortable in that section. And as a wheelchair user, obviously I've got that lowered down, that lowered view from my wheelchair. And I've felt cramped and I've felt uncomfortable, because those large crowds as a wheelchair user sometimes can be intimidating, because you can't see where you're going, you can't see what's ahead of you. I do find that difficult, and a lot of the time I walk into Birmingham City Centre. It's actually, by the time you've got out and got round to the train station, you can be at Birmingham City Centre, and that's long, and cold evenings and cold nights, that is difficult. But there's a lot of work and a lot of talk going on about the developments of Villa Park and the train station at Whitton, and I hope someone considers that element for a wheelchair user, because at Aston there is a different entrance and there is a lift that you can go up. but it's always out of order. So I don't have much option sometimes, and that element of options often decreases as a disabled supporter. Since my amputation, I've really found that independence, and I've been able to follow Villa home and away and in Europe, and that's something that I wouldn't have been able to do 2 or 3 years ago. One of the reasons I had the amputation was because I wanted that independence. I wanted to be able to travel, have experiences and enjoy football. When you follow Villa home and away, the result isn't always the be-all and end-all of the day. It's the community, it's the family, and it's the people that you meet. And I hope that you've seen on this video that, you know what, we have built a community. There's a very large disabled community at Aston Villa, and we're all in together as one, and we all support one another when we're here at the games. Thank you for watching my journey as a disabled supporter's journey. I hope that you've got a flavour in terms of what it's been, what it's like following Villa home and away. I am very lucky. That independence that I've gained since having my amputation has been so important. But also what's been really valuable to me is the people that I've met while following Villa and the community that I've built inside the Aston Villa Disabled Supporters Association, but also wider. It's been really good to be able to showcase you this journey, different elements of the travel, different elements of going to the game, and the people that you meet. And there's one thing I want you to take away from this is actually we're all Villa supporters. We all love Villa. We want to have the same experience as everyone else, and that is what this work is all about, is to ensure that all Villa disabled supporters enjoy the game as much as everyone else.